Hi, fourth graders, it's Mrs. Tyson coming at you from my living room today to teach you some math. But before we get started, I would like you to pause the video and go grab 16 items to help you while we go through this lesson. They can be marshmallows or chocolate chips or pennies or just something small that you can move around easily. See you back here in a minute. We are going to be talking a little bit more about fractions of a set today. And we're going to do a little bit of review on the basic lesson, and then we're going to do a little bit more of an advanced lesson. So we're going to start out with the review of 1/6 of 12. So I have 12 pennies right here, and I'm thinking that I need to put them, just like we heard in the last lesson, into 6 equal groups. So I think in my head, 12 divided into 6 equal groups would be 2 pennies in each group. So I'm going to organize my pennies into 6 equal groups. And then the numerator, so this is going to be how many groups there are going to be. And then I'm just going to count one of those groups. So I can see that 1 out of the 6 groups, 1/6, is going to equal 2. Let's move on to our pencils. On here I have 1/4 of 16. So I have 16 pencils, and I'm going to want to divide them up into 4 groups. That's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to break them up into 4 groups. I know that 16 divided by 4 is going to be 4 in each group. Okay, so there are my 4 groups. And then the numerator, or that top number in the fraction, the 1 right here, that means that I'm just going to look at 1 out of the 4 groups. So I can see that 1/4 of 16 is actually 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's move on where the numerator is in not 1, but now we have 2/3 of 9. So I have 9 carrots, and I'm going to make, again, this denominator is going to tell me how many groups. I'm going to have 3 groups of carrots. So I'm going to do 9, I'm thinking divided by 3. There's going to be 3 carrots in each group. Here. And then now, instead of just thinking about 1 of the groups, I'm actually going to think about 2 of the groups right here. So 2 groups of 3. I've got 3 there. I've got 3 more right here for a total of 6. So 2/3 of 9 equals 6. Let's move on to the Easter eggs. Now I've got 3/4 of 12. So first thing I want to do is, this is how many groups I need. I can think of 12 divided by 4 to think, oh, I'm going to put 3 eggs in each group. I've got 3 eggs in each group. Now my numerator is how many of those groups I'm going to count. I'm going to count 3 of them. So I'm going to count, whoopsies. I'm going to count this group, and this group, and this group. So 3, and I'm kind of doing like 3 times 3. So 3 plus 3 more is 6, plus 3 more is 9. So I know that 3/4 of 12 actually equals 9 eggs. Now we're going to do some fractions of a set without objects, but just thinking about how we can, a strategy for figuring this out. So this one says that we're going to do 4/9 of 18. So I know altogether I have 18 objects. And remember, this denominator right here is going to tell me how many groups in all that I'm going to need. So I need 9 groups in all. So I'm going to take those 18 objects and I'm going to divide them into 9 groups. So I know that 18 divided by 9 is actually, I'm kind of going like backwards. 18 divided by 9 equals 2. So I know that each group is going to have 2. And now this one is the groups. This 4 is going to tell me how many groups I'm going to count. So I'm going to count 4 of the groups. So I'm actually doing 2 times 4. Okay, so I did 18 divided by 9 to give me 2, and then 2 times 4 is my answer, which is 8. Okay, now we're going to try 2/5 of 25. So instead of laying out or drawing out 25 objects, I'm going to think of a strategy that I can use. So I'm going to think of, well, if I have 25 objects and I'm going to divide them into 5 groups, I know that 25 divided by 5 equals 5. So I know that there are going to be 5 in each group. And now this numerator is going to tell me, oh, I have to count 2 of those groups of 5. So it's basically 5 times 2 would equal 10. So my answer is 10. 2/5 of 25 equals 10. Next one we are going to do is 2/7 of 28. So again, I have 28 objects altogether. I'm going to divide them up into 7 groups, which means 28 divided by 7, that means there would be 4 objects in each group. If I'm going to count 2 of those groups, that would be 4 and another 4. So 4 times 2 would be 8. So 2/7 of 28 equals 8.